Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our science class. I hope that all of you are doing fine. Today, we will be continuing with our chapter that is cell structure and function. This is a revision class. We will be discussing about the total chapter in only one class. Okay, so I will be saying in a hurry, and I hope that you will all will cooperate with me. Okay, I hope this is clear to you all. Shall we begin? Okay, so we all know that we have started our chapter from the definition of the cell, and as I have said to you that cell is the smallest unit of any organism. That is, cell is the structural and functional unit of any organism. The cell is the basic structural unit, as we have all seen that the bricks like structure bricks made makes a small large wall, but the smallest unit of the wall is the brick, as we have the all the structural components of the wall, but the bricks are the major and the basic unit of that wall. That's similar in case of a whole organism, that cells organized into tissue, performing the definite function, the composition or the basic unification of the tissues called forms an organ, and then total organ forms an organ system. And then, is there any problem? Then as we all know that the bricks forms a large wall, then similarly in case of a total organ system, cells are the basic unit of the that organ. That's why it is known as the structural unit of the body. And similarly, why it is called a functional unit, because the functions what organ will perform decided in the what type of cells it is made up of. Okay, so we have completed our definition of cell. So the cell is the smallest unit of the body. It is the structural and functional unit of any organism. Okay, we will move to the next portion of the chapter, that is the discovery of cell. We have all known that the discovery of cell was made up by Robert Brown in the year 1665. Robert Brown, when he was observing a cork cell, bark of the cork cell, he discovered some compartment-like structures which he named as cell. So, but they all were the dead cells. He was unable to discover the total structure of the cell, as there was no advancement with the microscope, because he discovered the cell-like structures, the dead cells. He observed the dead cells with the simple microscope, and that's why he was unable to observe the definite composition of the cell or the cell organelles, the structures of the nucleus. And for the next 150 years, there was no advancement with the discovery of the cell organelles. Okay, is this okay to you? Next, we will be moving to our next portion, that is the variations of the cells occurred due to the number, size and shape of the cells. Okay, so in case of numbers, we all have known that we divide the cells into two types of that is the the organisms which contains only one cell. It is known as the unicellular, and when it is composed of multiple cells, we know that it is known as multicellular organism, right? So the discovery of the unicellular or multicellular organisms make the the discovery of the cell more unique, and we all know that the bacteria or the amoebas are the examples of the unicellular organisms. They perform their total function of the body with that only one cell. So, and that only one cell is enough for them. But in case of higher order organisms like us, we all know that only one cell is not enough for performing the total function of the body. That's why the structural complexity increases with the higher order organisms. That's why they are known as the multicellular organisms. Multiple cells compose the tissues, and the tissues compose the organs. The organs make the organ system, and different type of organ systems makes the whole body. Okay, so that's why there are some variations according to the number of cells. But after that, the size of the cell. Obviously, the size of the cell also differs in different organisms. Like the size of the cell, it is depend on the what type of functions it will be performing. That is, there is no definite observation like the rat, or the difference in the size of the organism. Like elephant, or in case of rat, there is no difference between the size of the cell. It is not necessary that the size of the elephant is bigger, that's why the cells of this elephant will also be bigger. It is not necessary. It is not like that, because if the size of the organism is bigger, then it only means that the number of cells in that organism is higher. Okay, but the size of the cell depends on what type of functions it will be performing. Okay, as we all know that RBC is biconcave in shape, but WBC is spherical. So, because they all perform the different functions, that's why their size also varies. Okay, and the shape. The shape is also dependent on what type of functions it will be performing. That we all know that the shape and many of the cells contains some pseudopodia like structures or the cilia like structures, which in unicellular organisms, this type of characteristic features helps them to perform their movement activities. But in case of other organisms, like in case of higher order organisms, maybe they lack in pseudopodia or amoeba or cilia, because we simply doesn't need that. Okay, so the number, size and shape is can be vary according to their functions. That's why we have also told that cells are also known as the functional unit of the body. Okay, up to this, is this clear to you all? Please reply. Okay, everyone, thank you for your cooperation. Okay, so we will be moving to the next portion of our chapter, that is the cell structure. We all know that cell is made up of some cell is a spherical body, and it is mainly made up of three particular type of composition. That is, the outer membrane of the cell is known as the cell membrane. Cell membrane, which covers the cell or gives cell a definite shape, because as the cell consists of a rounded spherical structure, the definite shape of that cell is given by the cell membrane. Now, in case of plants, the plants have to reside in a harsh environmental condition, and that's why plants have been given an extra outer covering, that and which is known as the cell wall. Cell wall is generally made up of chitin or some cellulose like structures, but in case of animal cells, the cell wall is absolutely absent in case of animal cells, and for the animal cells, the cell membrane is enough for them. Now, cell membrane and cell wall, there is some structural difference between the cell wall and the cell membrane, as the cell membrane is semi-permeable in its nature, because cell membrane only allows certain particular materials within the cell. It doesn't allow all the materials freely within the cell. It only allows some particular materials. That's why it is known, which are absolutely necessary for the cell, a cell's activity. That's why the cell membrane only also known as the semi-permeable membrane. The another name of cell membrane is the plasma membrane. Okay, because but the cell wall, it is in case the nature of the cell wall, it is freely permeable to all materials. It doesn't have that ability to counter the unnecessary materials within the cell. So that's why cell wall is only give the plant cells the extra outer covering, which helps them to give the structural rigidity which they need. Okay. Now, the next portion of our cell structure is the cytoplasm. After entering the cell is made up of the cell membrane. There is some liquid portion of the cell, and which gives the cells fluidity. Okay, that's why the cells are also palpable in nature, and the jelly-like structure of the cell, which is known as the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is also known as the liquid part of the cell. It is the jelly-like structure, and in cytoplasm, all the necessary cell organelles which are absolutely necessary for the cell's activity resides on the cytoplasm. So that's why cytoplasm is not a total liquid portion, because it also contains some kind of solid part which are the cell organelles. That's why the structure of the cytoplasm is jelly-like structure, gel-like. Okay. Now, the next portion of the structure is the nucleus. The nucleus, as we all have studied in our previous class, that nucleus is, I have told you absolutely multiple times, that nucleus is also known as the brain of the cell, because as it controls all the cell's activity, right? So that's why the nucleus is also called as the brain of the cell. But the structure of the nucleus is quite different from the cell's other organelles, cell organelles structures. Nucleus also contains some nuclear membrane which gives it a definite rounded shape, and this nuclear membrane also contains some pore-like structures, porous. That's why it is also a porous structure known as the porous structure. And what are the functions of these pores? Because this pores allows the exchange of the materials from the cytoplasm and within the nucleus. Okay, and the cytoplasm, and after the cytoplasm, when we enter the nucleus portion, there is also some liquid portions are there present within the nucleus, which are known as the nucleoplasm. And apart from nucleoplasm, there is some thread-like structures which are known as the chromosomes. Now, what are the functions of these chromosomes? Chromosomes are nothing but the hereditary materials which are responsible for the transmission of the characteristics from the parental generation to the offspring generation. Now, what does it mean that the hereditary? What is the meaning of this word hereditary? Hereditary means hereditary functions means that when some certain characteristics passes from generation after generation, these characteristics are known as the hereditary characteristics. Like we all know that we all have some kind of resemblance with our parents, like maybe the structure of our eyes, or maybe the hair or the skin color. Maybe it is more like our mother or our father or our grandfather. Like we all have some kind of a similarity with our parents. So that's those characteristics are known as the hereditary characteristics, which passes on generation after generation. Okay, and after that the genes. So what are the concept of the genes? The chromosomes, I'm not going to make any kind of diagrams, because I have already made, or you have also provided that the diagrams in your chapter. So I am just discussing the portion of the chapter. Okay, just revision, like a revision class. Okay, so after that the cytoplasm, after the nucleus, what are the concept of the genes? The genes are the smallest part of the chromosomes, which are mainly responsible for controlling the characteristics. Okay, so what are they control? They generally controls all the specific characteristics of any organisms, like what type of eye color should it have, or what type of hair will it be have. So that's these are the characteristics which are totally controlled by some specific genes, and these genes are specifically responsible for the controlling or the transmission of that hereditary characteristics. In your higher classes you will have a clear idea or the depiction about the genes and the nucleus or the cellular activities. Okay, for class 8, this is, I think that this is enough for you. Okay, after the structure of the nucleus, there is some another portions which left in this chapter, that is the last portion of the chapter, which is known as the difference between the plant and the animal cell. What are the, after discussing the total chapter, I think that you will all be able to differentiate between the plant cell and the animal cells. But in case of plant cell, I have also told that plants have been provided with an extra outer covering, which is known as the cell wall, but it is absolutely absent in case of the animal cells, right? So this is the first difference between a plant cell and an animal cell. And after that we can say that in case of plant cells, the colors of the plants or the trees are varies in different parts. That is, the leaves of the plants are green in color, but the fruits are orange or yellow in color. So there is some extra cell organelle which is responsible sorry, I can't be able to properly go through your chats because I have to complete the whole chapter. Okay, if you all have if anybody have any doubt, then please leave the comment in your chat box. I will be giving the answers in the last portion of the class. Okay, so in case of the difference between the plant cell and the animal cell, the plants are also provided with an extracellular organelle which is known as the plastid. The plastid controls the color of the cell or cell structures. What type of colors? Like plastids, which are green in colors, are also known as the chloroplasts, and chloroplasts are responsible for the residing of the chlorophylls, because as the chloroplast possesses the chlorophylls, they mainly are responsible for controlling the cellular activities of the plants or the cellular. What type of cellular activities? The chlorophylls are absolutely necessary for plants because they helps them to make their own food. We all know that, right? So, but in case of animal cells, it is absolutely absent. The plants, the animal cells are not provided with the plastids. Okay, and after that we all have also known an extra difference, that is in presence of vacuole. In case of vacuoles, it is larger. In case of the plant cells, the vacuoles are nothing but the large cavities which are absolutely absent, or not absolutely absent, it is also in a smaller in case of the animal cells, but in case of the plant cells it has a much bigger in size, bigger size. Okay, so that's these are the differences, and also there are some other differences present in plant cells or animal cells. Like animal cells possesses the centrosomes and extra cell organelle which are different in case of the plant cells. So these are the basic differences of the plant cells and animal cells. That's all for this chapter, and I hope that you will all have understood what I have tried to say. Okay, and if you all have any kind of doubt, then please let me know in your comment box. Now, good morning Shanchari, good morning Deep. No problem, no problem Akash Tirthankar. Did you like the chapter? Okay. Okay, thank you everyone, and I have to give you some kind of assignment or homework, like, ma'am, I have missed the class, why they? Very interesting. Okay, Shonchari, yes, the structure of the cell is very interesting, and the chapter is also. Ma'am, are there any ghosts in real life? I seriously don't know. I haven't met them yet. If you have met them, then please let me know on it. Okay, that's all for today, and please go through the chapter, and yes, the homework is the questions. Please write the answers of the questions provided in the last of this chapters. Okay, please go through with the exercise. And the questions provided in that, I can say that in the page number 98, the questions, please write the answers. Okay, you have experienced, okay, if we have some time, then we all will hear what your paranormal activity, what you have experienced. Okay, I will surely take a class in which we all will discuss about some kind of this. First, we all have to complete our syllabus. If our syllabus has completed, then we will must have a class of this. Okay. Okay, okay, everyone. I hope that you all are fine or doing safe in your home. So, okay, and please give right present, because I will be taking your attendance, as you all know. Thank you, Akash. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. That's all for today, and please go through the chapter and also the questions provided at the last of the chapter. Okay? Okay, everyone. Thank you. Stay safe and bye.